The Amazing World of Gumball is an animated series about the adventures of the boy Gumball and his foster brother Darwin. Together, they have fun and find themselves in all sorts of situations. Watch until the end and you'll find out how Gumball was able to open a portal to another reality. It's time to introduce the main characters. Gumball is a little kitten boy. His parents are Richard and Nicole. As I said, he also has a foster brother Darwin. They live in Elmore. There are 240 episodes in this animated series. The funny thing is that only some episodes affect the plot. The rest are just different adventures in the everyday lives of the characters. Why is Darwin the Gumball's foster brother? I have an answer. Let's start with a short backstory. We travel back a few years to a time when Gumball is only 4 years old. Tired of his bad behavior, his parents decide to get him a fish. Gumball decides to name it Darwin. However, one early morning Darwin doesn't wake up and Nicole and Richard realize that he is destroyed. Not wanting to upset Gumball, Richard buys a new fish to replace the eliminated one. After many fish end up dying because of Gumball, Richard goes to the pet store to buy another fish. As Richard walks from the store with another fish, a man from a mysterious van offers him a fish. The man tells him that this fish is very special and must be treated with great care. Gumball notices that Darwin is unusually smart for a goldfish. Richard comes into the kitchen and sees Darwin floating motionless in his bowl. He almost flushes him into the toilet, but Gumball stops him at the last second. Nicole then decides to take a family photo. Darwin jumps out of his bowl to say cheese. Nicole and Richard are amazed by this and accidentally throw him out of his bowl. Darwin falls into the toilet and is flushed down the sewer. Darwin swims out to sea. He jumps out of the water onto land, but quickly falls to the sand and suffocates because he has no lungs. Gumball says that he believes Darwin will come back. When he says this, Darwin suddenly grows lungs. He begins his journey back home to Elmore. The Watersons decide to get a new Darwin, not noticing Darwin running behind them as they drive off in their car. At the mall, Darwin finally catches up with his family, but notices that the Watersons are already going to replace him, leaving him heartbroken, and he sadly, tearfully leaves the mall. However, just as Gumball is about to buy a new fish, he senses Darwin's presence and realizes that he has returned. He runs to catch up with Darwin and they reunite outside the mall. Noticing the bruises on Darwin's feet, Gumball gives him his green shoes. The Watersons officially accept Darwin as a member of their family. So let's start with the first episode of the first season. The episode begins with Nicole asking Gumball to return the DVD back to the store to avoid paying a fine. He goes to the kitchen to ask Darwin where the disc is, but discovers that Darwin is using the disc to slice pizza. Gumball snatches the disc from him and accidentally drops it down the kitchen sink garbage disposal, tearing it to pieces. Gumball then decides that they need to find a way to replace the DVD without their mom finding out what they have done. They make a copy of the disc out of cardboard. Gumball and Darwin arrive and hand over the homemade DVD. Unconvinced, Larry orders Gumball and Darwin to return the original DVD immediately. Upon hearing this, Gumball and Darwin admit what happened to the DVD and beg Larry not to tell Nicole, who turns out to be right behind them. She pays a $25 fine for the lost DVD. Many days later, Gumball and Darwin are at the mall. Gumball tries to talk to Darwin, but he starts glitching. When Darwin tries on a little hat, he asks Gumball if he likes it. Gumball tries to praise him for it, but he starts glitching again. Darwin, thinking Gumball is trying to insult him, walks away. Gumball tries to catch up with him, but the scene starts glitching. In the living room, Gumball keeps trying to apologize to Darwin, but the scene is interrupted by a black screen, and after that Gumball and Darwin are fighting. Richard decides to reconcile the boys and takes them to a gas station. Richard fills the car with gasoline, but the scene changes again. The car drives down the road on its own, with Gumball and Darwin still in the car, leaving Richard behind, who also begins to glitch. The car slows down and stops at a phone in a parking lot outside the mall. But another glitch makes the car go faster back to the mall, and they stop at the TVs, almost crashing into Larry. The scene suddenly changed to the entire Watterson family at the table, and Richard says that Gumball and Darwin have made up. The boys realize that something isn't right here. Later, after the cheerleaders fall at one of the practices, Gumball and Darwin realize that someone is missing. Suddenly, Mr. Small appears in a tinfoil hat and claims that there is a conspiracy with missing items at Elmore. The boys find pictures that indicate that this someone has been erased from the world. After making some effort to remember, Gumball realizes that the missing person is Molly. They invite Mr. Small to investigate Molly's disappearance further. Mr. Small advises Gumball to take a closer look, and he discovers a picture of Molly with him and Darwin standing in front of her tree house. They then go to visit Molly's tree house. The boys discover that the site of their home is now a gap, where the world has curled in on itself. They open the gap and they are all sucked into the void. In the void, they find Molly frozen in time. Gumball pushes her and she unfreezes. They emerge from the treehouse and are horrified to find out that the gap is rapidly closing. They manage to leave the void in the van in the last few seconds. Then, Nicole, Richard and Anais burst into Darwin and Gumball's room. They accuse them of taking $20 from their valley, using Richard's toothbrush and stealing Anais' doll. The boys are punished, even though they didn't do it. The boys go around the house and find a secret passage. Gumball and Darwin find a man there. The mysterious man tries to run away, but the heroes catch up with him. Gumball and Darwin ask him questions and find out that the mysterious man can't remember anything because he's a nobody. When Gumball and Darwin try to give him another purpose in life, they decide that he must be their mortal enemy. The mysterious man then remembers what happened before all of this, and apparently during a flashback in the episode The Void, he turns out to be Rob, trying to get Gumball and Darwin's attention, but he was ignored. We move to the mall parking lot where the van is. Rob gets out of the van with a remote control in his hand. He goes back to the scene from Nobody in the Void. He witnesses Gumball, Darwin and Mr. Small leaving. This reminds Rob that it was Gumball who made him evil. Rob wants to destroy the hero's family. He deliberately undermines Gumball's relationship with his brother Darwin by setting up reality, so that he learns that if his parents hadn't adopted Darwin, they would have enough money to pay for the game. He also creates a fight between Gumball's parents. Rob poses to make everyone stop, excepting him and Gumball. Gumball finds his mom hugging another man's arm, his dad drowning his sorrow in donuts, and Anais crying while they're frozen in time. Eventually, Gumball is confronted by his nemesis. As a result, Rob pushes Gumball into the void. Falling into the void, Gumball manages to fix the remote and is sent back through the entire episode in reverse order. Gumball knows what's in store for him. In the second fight, the main character throws Rob into the void, but decides to save him. Rob apologizes for everything he's done. He destroys the remote, making it as if all the events never existed. Gumball, Darwin, Anais and Richard are at a garage sale at Banana's house. Most of the pictures are painted by Banana Barbara. It turns out that she has a knack for predicting the future. One painting that Darwin discovered shows Gumball almost completely naked in the middle of an angry crowd at the mall. At the end of the series, we see this scene, only in real life instead of in a painting. Banana Barbara finishes her final painting and sees a dark figure behind her. She then turns around and tells that it was Rob. Banana Joe and our heroes begin their search for Banana Barbara. Meanwhile, in a junkyard warehouse, Rob makes Banana draw the future, but she ends up drawing only a few scenes with Gumball, Darwin and Joe taken out of context. However, Barbara has one last idea: paint over a hole that would teleport the boys to the warehouse. Rob quickly uses Banana Barbara's powers to alter reality. Gumball and Darwin approach an easel and erase Rob from existence by running a brush over his portrait. When Gumball states that they will see Rob in the future, Banana Barbara says, "But there is no future," and the screen turns off. Get ready! It is the last episode of the amazing world of Gumball. At school, the students and teachers listen to a speech by the Superintendent, a living person named Superintendent Evil, who declares his intention to remove cartoonish and nonsensical elements in their school. Gumball and Darwin run away in fear, bumping into several of their classmates, who have also been turned into cartoon people, including Tobias, Tina, and Cece. The duo witness the transformation of Masami, slowly transforming as her cartoon hand and eyes disappear, revealing live ones. With all of their friends and teachers restored, Gumball and Darwin face and defeat evil. The students and teachers approach Evil, tear off his mask, and discover that he is Rob in disguise. Rob tries to justify his actions by warning them of an unsolved event that is about to happen to Elmore, but he's not listened to. During the night, Rob wakes up at school and questions why the others didn't listen to him. He was trying to save them, and the transformation was their only hope of escaping to somewhere else. At that moment, the ground suddenly begins to collapse, revealing the void. Rob falls into the void with a scream. So, this episode is the last in the amazing world of Gumball. It was interesting and hard work for me. Your support inspires me to make as many videos as possible and to delight you with new content. Like and subscribe if you wanna hear more cartoons lore. Stay tuned!